Before gladiators thrilled crowds, before emperors ruled with golden scepters, there was Lucius Sicinius Dentatus, the forgotten lion of Rome. Born a plebeian, Dentatus rose not through birthright, but by sheer force of will. He fought in 120 battles, bearing over 40 wounds, and claimed 18 decorations for bravery. His comrades called him the Roman Achilles, a warrior whose legend outshone even the consuls he served. But Dentatus wasn't just a soldier. He was a voice for the people, fierce, proud, and unyielding. He believed Rome belonged to more than just the patrician elite. In the heart of the Republic, a silent war raged between the aristocrats and the commoners. Dentatus stood in the middle, unafraid. When Spurius Maelius, a noble, attempted to buy political favor through grain distribution, Dentatus was among those who saw through the scheme and paid for it with enemies in high places. When he challenged a corrupt general in the Senate, calling him a traitor to the Republic, he didn't expect justice. He expected retaliation. They offered him command. They offered him wealth. He spat in their faces. One night, on a quiet road outside Rome, Dentatus was ambushed. A robbery, they claimed. No trial. No monument. Just silence. But legends don't die in alleys. His name lived on in whispers, in old legion songs, in the rage of the oppressed. They could erase his statue, but not his story. In the blood-stained history of Rome's monarchy, no tale is more haunting than that of Tullia Minor. She was born a princess, daughter of King Servius Tullius, a just ruler beloved by the people. But Tullia was not made for peace. She was ambition incarnate, fire wrapped in silk. When her gentle husband failed to match her hunger for power, she had him murdered. She then married his ruthless brother, Lucius Tarquinius, a man with a heart as dark as hers. Together, they plotted the unthinkable, the murder of her own father, the king. One night, under the cloak of conspiracy, Tullia watched as assassins crept into the palace and spilled royal blood on marble floors. Her father's body lay cold and broken on the steps of the Senate. But that was not enough. As the city reeled, Tullia mounted her chariot and rode through the streets, her horse's hooves echoing off the stone. She came upon her father's corpse and did not stop. The wheels crushed bone and memory. A father, a king, reduced to silence beneath the roar of ambition. Rome was stunned. Even her allies recoiled. The street where she committed this act would forever be named the Vicus Sceleratus, the street of crime. Yet history painted her only as a monster. But what if Tullia wasn't simply cruel? What if she was desperate, trapped in a system where only violence earned a crown? Was she evil, or a mirror held to Rome itself? History remembers Julius Caesar as a conqueror. It remembers Brutus as a traitor. But behind them both was a woman the history books almost erased, Servilia Caepionis. Born into nobility, Servilia was no ornament of Rome. She was brilliant, calculating, and more politically astute than the senators who sat in marble halls. From a young age, she learned the language of power, not through sword or vote, but through whispers, marriage, and leverage. When Caesar returned from Gaul in triumph, Servilia was already 10 steps ahead. She had once been his lover. Some said she still was. Others whispered she controlled him. But Servilia had more than Caesar's heart. She had a son, Marcus Junius Brutus. And as Caesar rose, so did the rumors. That Servilia steered the tides of the Republic. That she whispered in Caesar's ear by night and raised the man who would kill him by day. When Brutus joined the conspiracy to murder Caesar, many asked, did Servilia know? Did she guide the dagger? Or did her world shatter as mother and lover clashed under Pompey's theater? On the Ides of March, Caesar fell beneath 23 blows. Brutus led them. Servilia said nothing. After the assassination, when Rome collapsed into civil war, Servilia survived. She negotiated. She protected her grandchildren. She lived to see empires rise and her family line endure. They say history is written by the victors, but sometimes the real writers never held a pen. Servilia didn't need a throne or a title. She shaped Rome from behind the curtain. Before Rome ruled the world, it fought for survival against a fierce rival, Carthage. In the chaos of the First Punic War, one man became a living legend, Marcus Atilius Regulus. A seasoned general and stoic consul, Regulus was tasked with bringing Rome victory across the sea. His campaigns were brutal, his leadership relentless. At Cape Ecnomus, he led one of the largest naval battles in history, and won. But war is never kind to its heroes. In a twist of fate, Regulus was captured by the Carthaginians. Shackled and paraded like a trophy, they offered him a deal: return to Rome as a messenger of peace. And if the Roman Senate refused Carthage's terms, he must come back and face death. They expected betrayal. They expected fear. But Regulus returned to Rome and stood before the Senate. He urged them to reject Carthage's offer, not as a man desperate for freedom, but as a Roman who valued honor above life. And then, he kept his word. He went back to Carthage. Some say he was tortured, crushed in a barrel lined with spikes. Others say he was executed quietly. No one knows for certain. What we do know is this: Regulus became the symbol of Roman virtue. In an age of ambition and betrayal, he stood alone, a man who chose death over dishonor, and whose name echoed in the halls of Rome for centuries. They don't tell you this story in school, but Rome never forgot him. And now, neither will you. In the opulent halls of the Flavian dynasty, power flowed like wine. Emperors ruled as gods. To defy them was to die. And yet, one woman did. Her name was Flavia Domitilla, a noblewoman, a relative of the Emperor Domitian himself. She had wealth, privilege, and status, but she also had something far more dangerous: faith. At a time when Christians were hunted like criminals, Flavia embraced the outlawed religion. She opened her home to worshippers, hid the persecuted, spread forbidden teachings by candlelight. To the empire, this was treason. Domitian, her own blood, gave her a choice: renounce her beliefs and live, or hold to her faith and be cast out. She chose the latter. Banished from Rome, stripped of her titles and luxuries, Flavia was exiled to the volcanic island of Ponza, a place of rock, storm, and silence. There, she survived. Not as a martyr in flame, but as a whisper of defiance. Her tomb became a pilgrimage site. Her story passed in secret among slaves, women, and the poor. They called her the true Domitilla. Rome tried to erase her, but centuries later, her name was found carved in the catacombs beneath the Eternal City. She may not have ruled an empire, but she inspired generations to resist it. Some heroes fight with swords, others with silence.